Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host with the co-most.
Oh, my bad, Karen.
It's not your bad. I was a little extra on that one.
Oh, that's fine.
Flew too close to the sun, Karen. That's what I do sometimes.
Oh, and that's fine. I just go with the flow.
You can find this podcast everywhere you get podcasts. It's that simple. And leave us 5-star reviews if you get your podcast off of Apple Podcast, or just go create an Apple Podcast account just to leave us a 5-star review. We love those. It's awesome. We read them every Saturday when we do our feedback show.
And renew if you have already left a review and you was like, well, I left one a while ago. Renew it.
Yeah, renew it. We cool. We love that. The official weapon of the show is
the taser.
The unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball. Extreme.
Coronavirus. Again? Look, here we go again. We got variants. Really need to keep a mask on hand and follow the plan. Get the vaccine and second shots, whether woman or man. Black out who tips is doing their part, but the dummies expand. Niggas would rather believe a bunch of misinformation. Fuck y'all idiots not getting shots. Now we gotta regress. If we keep going in this direction, we never can rest. Never can get back to the lives we be living the best. Damn fool, stop the lying. Stop the intubation crying. Cause it's your fault that motherfuckers dying. Damn fool, stop the lying. Stop the ventilator crying, cause it's your fault that motherfuckers dying. I do not understand this shit. I'm not a fan of this. We were like one win from the pandemic championship, but fuckers wanna leave it to game 7 with Giannis Delta Kumpo blocking forward progression and Chris middle fingers to your plans, man. Damn. Looks like it's no true holiday for you and your mans. I'm sick of black people dying for real, so I'm just writing this new piece to let you know how I feel. Coronavirus, yeah. Fuck that COVID-19, it's unseen, it's creeping in the air for you to breathe, yeah. So fuck that COVID-19, it's unseen, it's creeping in the air for you to breathe, yeah.
Coronavirus news, let's get to it. Okay, no further delay. We're not fucking around with you tonight. Athens Clarke County reinstated its mask mandate on Friday after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention updated the COVID-19 community level to high in its most recent weekly report. What I think is interesting about this is a lot of communities are at high right now. Probably the majority in America, I bet. Definitely the majority of like highly populated areas. This might be the first thing I've read about somebody reinstating the mask mandate, which was one of the reasons that a lot of the Democratic, like liberal, progressive cities even got rid of the mask mandate, was this promise of like, but we're going to just pay attention to the science. And when they say to put the mask back on, we're going to put the mask back on. This is part of living with the pandemic. And nobody really did that.
No, they didn't.
So I noticed, like I saw this article, I was like, So somebody did it. It'll be interesting to see how people comply with it and if it's even a big deal. I'm sure other municipalities are going to be watching them to see if, like, protests happen or people just don't comply or, the rate doesn't go down. But I think this is a good thing. I hope that other people have the courage. Sounds weird to say that about something so fucking logical, but I hope other politicians have the courage to do it. I know some people are up for midterm elections and all that stuff, but I just feel like it's the right thing to do, and I hope people do it.
Yeah, and like you said, the courage is a lot. And I think, all jokes aside, in my opinion, and the way I view it, some people aren't wearing masks because they don't have the courage to actually be around people and put their mask on and be the only one. Like, they're not willing to be like, fuck y'all. Like, okay, I don't care if you had your shots double boosted. I don't care if you have it. I'm going to wear my mask. And it's one of those things where if somebody else sees somebody else do it, they'll do it too. But somebody has to make the first move. And it's like, because you feel like, I know sometimes I feel like everybody's gaslighting me and I'm just a fucking lunatic over here going, y'all know the coronavirus ain't gone. It ain't gone, y'all. Y'all know it ain't gone. I know everybody want to walk around with no mask. I know everybody want to act like everything's all right. Bitch, it ain't all right. And so it's one of those things where a lot of people feel just like me, where they go, well, fuck it. Since nobody gives a shit, why should I? If I catch it, I catch it. Hope I don't get long COVID. And like I said, I know that's something that I need to work my way through. But I think that little bit of anger with me probably will always stay here about this motherfucking virus, because I feel like it didn't have to be this fucking way.
Yep. As I said, we're going to this is probably just going to be a part of this recurring segment. I do the news, and then you get mad about it, and then we go to the next article.
Mm-hmm.
No link between COVID-19 vaccination and preterm births or stillbirths. We've been knew this. It's always been true, but people was floating this conspiracy theory. People were trafficking in lies and deceit and fear, and unfortunately, it takes longer to prove to disprove a false thing like that. It takes, like with science, it takes studies, monitoring people, data. It takes time to gather those things. Whereas a lie, it takes a second to tell a lie.
Oh yeah.
You don't need no facts. You don't need no backup. If anything, you can take an anecdotal case or something. I heard one time maybe, and then it's just like people run with it. It's on every podcast, every news, right-wing news site. People are spreading it on social media and stuff, and it turns out not true. But yeah, we're just now getting the results from this study, and it's a Canadian study. I know there's been others, but I think it's important to report it. There's no proof that these vaccines do anything to preterm births or stillbirths or to mothers or any of this shit that people were saying.
Too many pregnant
and honestly, something that does give you those effects is getting COVID while pregnant. Raises the risk of stillbirths, premature births, all that stuff.
Now that they actually say is a study, and what I've realized, truth be told, a lot of people just like to be lied to, because lie to me as long as it makes me feel good. Facts be damned. If your lie makes me feel okay, I am willing to accept your lie before I accept the truth. Because the thing about the truth ain't always pretty. The truth ain't trying to make you feel good. The truth don't give a fuck about your feelings. The truth don't give a fuck about what fake reality you have created. The truth is the truth, and the truth stands by itself on its own 2 feet. And regardless of how you feel, the truth is like, bitch, I'm still the truth. And a lot of people, they don't want to hear that.
Yep. Google employees are frustrated after the office has a COVID outbreak. Some call to modify the vaccine policy. So Google employees said they've been receiving a deluge of COVID exposure notifications since beginning being asked to return to offices. Employees are reacting with memes that contrast the difference between the excitement of management bringing employees back to offices and the concerns of seeing regular exposure notifications. A group of workers is asking the company to drop its vaccine mandate, arguing that they are still banned from in-person meetings while COVID cases occur regularly in the office with fully vaccinated employees. So the unvaccinated employees that are banned from meeting in person are like, well, y'all are in the office, y'all are vaccinated, and y'all still spreading COVID, and y'all still getting it. So we should be allowed back in the office without being vaccinated. Yeah, I think also with the updated booster coming out in like a couple weeks or something. So then what do we do? The updated booster comes out, y'all refuse to get that shit too. And if we see that the updated booster slows or stops the spread of the vaccine, the virus for people, then what? How do we deal with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta kick y'all back out the office, or we gotta let y'all stay in. We gotta do another vaccine mandate. Like, it just seemed like, if anything, you definitely want them motherfuckers staying home. But
yeah, and the thing is, people act like you not getting a shot ain't a choice. That's a motherfucking choice. You chose that, and you have to deal with the consequences, the repercussions of your choice. We also live in a world where people make decisions and they don't want to deal with the ramifications of their decisions. They act like, well, I made a decision. Particularly Americans, everything else is supposed to adapt and adjust to the decision that I made. It's like, no, bitch, we actually don't have to. We can actually mosey on along.
Yeah. And as for the employees who are vaccinated and were working remote, but now being told to come back and work in person, I definitely understand where they're coming from as well. They said while people worked from home, Google had enjoyed some of its fastest revenue growth in 15 years. So they're like, why the fuck did y'all bring us back to deal with this? Google has offered full-time employees the options to request permanent remote work, but it's unclear how many workers have been approved. So you can request it, doesn't mean they're going to approve it, and it probably comes down to your managers and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and see, this right here is the lie that management and companies tell themselves. Because what don't lie is numbers, don't lie, stats and statistics.
Yeah.
So employees are like, hey, dog, hey, look at what we've been doing at home. If y'all make us come back, this shit is going to drop. Because now people have distractions and all other stuff that was in the working environment. And something that I've learned over the time is some people are, how do I phrase this? Some people are professional fakers inside the office environment, which means they actually don't do work, but they have mastered the facade that they're consistently doing work. They have screens up, they have all types of stuff, but in reality, they are not doing anything at all. When everybody goes home, now you have to stand on your own. Now you actually have to motherfucking work. You can't lean and depend on other people to cover your ass and dip in and shit like that. Like, it's one of those things where a lot of people want to come in because they like, well, shit, I'm tired of actually physically working. Let me go in because I have my routine down. I know my manager don't come in till 8 or 9. I come in at 7. I can fuck around until they get here, and you know all types of things like that. But when you're at home and you clocking in and you logging in, you take a lot of that away.
Yeah, it's interesting because I wonder if those people are the ones driving the return to work. I mean, maybe those people are the managers or something, because I just don't know how that would drive the return to work. That feels like a management decision. I think a lot of times it's these like white dudes, making these decisions at the top. They've bought all this real estate. That it's currently empty and not being used. It's a sunk cost in a lot of ways. And it's like, I want the appearance and I want all the things that I've told people a company is. I want that back, because I think they told people a company is a family. A company is us together in this building. I just watched this documentary about WeWork on Hulu, and it was always a Ponzi scheme bullshit thing. But the concept they sold was this idea of like, we're all cohabitating in this space and we all have different businesses, but we can collaborate together and we can come together. And we're all living in this office where people live in you go get a bunk bed and you live in a room with another person that you just met and shit. And it was like, oh, this is that vision of like corporation as family, as replacement for friends and all that stuff. And I wonder if that's what's driving it. Like, I think, yes, you have some employees that would like that. They're like, maybe they think in their minds I can goof off, or maybe they just genuinely miss people. I don't think that's crazy that some people just feel that way.
Agreed.
But I don't think the people driving the decision are the ones that are like, it's easier to work in person because I can slack off. I think people are finding ways to slack off at home. Like,
they do.
I clock in on my app and then head on into the office in my other room when I feel like it. But I think the thing that's driving this has to be the people at the top, because those other people you described, they don't make decisions.
Correct. And also, I think too, the people, like you said, that are making these decisions, they actually don't care about their work populace.
Right, because obviously the cases jumped up. They've had 144 infections. Shout out to California for actually keeping track of the companies that have outbreaks and stuff. That's how we know these numbers. So they had 145 infections, with 135 recorded at their Playa Vista campus, which is their like biggest workspace. So that those numbers had to be lower when people were at home. So the argument of we doing this for you doesn't really resonate to me.
No, it doesn't. And it's one of those things where also I think people at the top have come to the realization that people, for the first time, particularly a lot of people that work at home, realize that work ain't their entire life. They realize I gotta have family, I got friends, I can be with my children, I could be with my mate. And a lot of people are coming to particularly a lot of the younger generation and people who have never actually been fired from jobs are coming to the realization that my whole being and who I am, my job doesn't define me. Like they're losing that power over a lot of employees. And so I also think that's the resistance too, because employees are like, no, Before, you lied to me and you told me I didn't have a choice. You told me only special upper management had the ability to work remotely. COVID comes, which makes you a liar, and you allow me the ability to work at home. Why would I give that the fuck up now? Because you feel like I need to come in to make you feel better or to meet your goals. Because once people start coming into work, all this stuff is gonna start coming down, because y'all gonna start eating up costs that y'all had to eat up when you have employees in office.
And I think the unvaccinated people just literally, their fight in their mind is just to go back to work. Like because they always wanted to just pretend this thing isn't happening and go back to life as normal, quote unquote. And so I don't even know it's deep for them. It's so stupid, because everybody's been forced to come to work, would love to work from home. The unvaccinated people who didn't get fired, by the way, kept their jobs, are forced to work remote, and they're pissed about it. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with? It's a lot of vaccinated people. It's like, shit, if I knew I could be unvaccinated and stay home, I would have told them I was unvaccinated. You know, like if I knew they weren't gonna fire me, shit.
Yeah, and there's also one of the things too, to where they're not going to do what they should do and be like, hey, if you want to come into the office, you can. And like kind of leave it up to the employees, because they want to be in control. Because if you did that, you will actually have a lot of unvaccinated people come in there, and your numbers go through the roof. They're already going through the roof with the vaccinated people. So imagine how much higher it would be if you had a bunch of unvaccinated people in there, and let the vaccinated people stay home. But nobody wants to make that choice. It's either all or nothing.
There hasn't been any norovirus on these cruises because of all the COVID rules. So norovirus is the stomach virus that used to go around on these cruises, cause outbreaks of vomiting and diarrhea all the time. And it affected 3% or more of passengers and crew. But that's this year, they've only had 2 of those outbreaks.
And one thing I realized about people have modified their lifestyle, like people that are wearing masks and, taking precautions, being more clean, cleanliness and cleaning, things like that. You're actually other things that normally would get you aren't getting you, because like you're like, oh, I haven't had a cold in 3 years. Yeah. I wonder why, shit like that, shit that used to consistently take people down. Yeah, people still get the flu and they still get colds, but nothing at the rate that they did before.
And last story, 15% of U.S. worker shortage is due to long COVID, says study. That's a lot. Between 14 to 15.4% of U.S. residents have experienced long COVID, depending on that's data from the CDC. Depending on what state the patients live in, the chance of having long COVID were higher, such as Florida, where the percentage range from 14.4% to 21.5% as of August 8th, compared to the national average of 15.4%. However, the data used by the CDC has some caveats due to its source coming from the National Household Pulse Survey. The Brookings Institute, an American research nonprofit based in Washington, examined the data and employment trends over COVID-19 pandemic. And it says as many as 16.3 working age U.S. citizens from 18 to 65 have long COVID. The number of working age residents with long COVID was collected from the census survey. The number of workers who have long COVID roughly equals 8% of Americans old enough to work. The study said 2 to 4 million were not working as a result.
Which means they're not working at all. They literally are out of the workforce, right?
Yeah, man. Right. It's scary, man. People out here tangling with that thing. And like I said, everybody got to have to take risk at some point, but some of the long COVID things that people talk about, in addition to just like the physical fatigue that keeps people out of work, you also have like mental stuff like depression and anxiety and brain fog and shit that I would be scared of those, too. Like, you think you had a mild case, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm having anxiety all the time now. It's like, okay, so you was cool, you got COVID, and now you're more anxious than you've been in a long time. I would be paranoid as fuck. That would add to the anxiety. Like, that's scary.
Correct. And it's also one of the things, like you said, when these white tech bro dudes make decisions, there are people that are like, yes, I'm willing to do things. Yes, I'm willing to take a risk. But like I said, sitting in here 8 whole fucking hours in a building that's a lot of times not ventilated very, very well is completely different than going somewhere for a few hours and going home. It's not the same.
Joe Rogan tells his listeners to vote Republican due to serious errors made during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'll wait for this ad to play and then I'll play the video. But yeah, Joe Rogan said, hey, I'm finally taking the I was gonna say taking the hood off, but I guess putting the hood on, I don't know. But
yeah, that's why when he said that shit about Bernie, I was like, yo, the fuck? Like, why y'all running with this?
Yeah, so many people try to tell us that Joe Rogan is a guy you want on your side, and when he endorsed, or not even endorsed, he just casually mentioned that he might consider voting for Bernie Sanders. That was the last shred of credibility the Bernie voters had for me. Was this dude that would later be in trouble for saying nigger a bunch of times on the show, and a bunch of racially insensitive stuff, obviously very transphobic, just has said wild shit just over the course, but they were so enamored by the fact that he has a big podcast following that they were like any port in a storm. And to me, that tells me all the principles that you claim to have when voting for Bernie were not about Bernie, and they weren't about his policies or any of that shit. You just hated Hillary Clinton enough,
right?
And all the critiques they had of Hillary being like, oh, she's not really woke, she's not this. It's like, well, Joe Rogan's not any of those things, and y'all basically fell over yourselves to like tell us that it was great that he would endorse Bernie, even though he obviously never did. But I remember being like, Joe Rogan's a Republican. Like people, oh no, he's a libertarian. Okay, rest of Republican light. But it's like, look at his stances, look at who he has on his show, look at the clips that go viral. He talks about he's just a Republican that won't say it.
Right.
But I've been around enough white dudes to know like that's a Republican. Feel how you feel about it, right? Like you can love Republicans. I can't change that for you, but I know a Republican when I see one.
Yes, sir.
Like he's a Republican that smokes weed. You know what I mean? Bill Maher to me is a very similar vein of like low key, very socially conservative, but a couple of allowances. And because he's a white dude, we're like, that's a liberal white dude. It's like, not really. I've heard his opinion. Like he doesn't fuck with Muslims. He's you know what I mean? Like he doesn't like the trans movement. Like he's very anti a lot of shit, but just happens to not be like MAGA or like, full-blooded Republican. So people are like, well, clearly this guy's on our side. We need to keep him on. I'm like, I don't think so. Anyway,
that's not how that works.
Joe Rogan was talking to Aaron Rodgers when this came out.
No, there was no science.
But John Hopkins comes out with a study talking about these lockdowns did more detriment than good.
Yeah.
And they're not the only, research place that's done these type of studies. But are they going to go back and reverse it? And they say, oh, tough shit. Sorry. Because I think on one level, it's really one of two extremes, right? Either they really thought they were doing the right thing, or there's some coordinated plan. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle.
I don't think there's a coordinated.
Your quarterback is on Joe Rogan's show.
Is he still allowed? You won't allow Deshaun Watson to you tell him you only get massaged by people we massage, and this nigga go on everybody's Republican ass bro podcast fucking talking. Go somewhere. Shut up and play ball. I'm gonna be that person. Shut up and play ball. I don't give a fuck about what you got to say, sir. You are not the victim here.
The thing that's interesting, in another part of this clip, he does admit, or another part of this show, he does admit to finally lying about being vaccinated, which we all knew.
Right.
Like, they're like, he finally admitted. I was like, but did you need him to admit it? We know he's a liar.
Plan. I think people were trying.
I'm just saying what people think, right?
Well, I have a friend.
I'm just saying what people think. Oh, the consummate just asking questions. White guy that just wants to hide behind that shit. Like, hey, don't put my name on it. I'm just saying. Some people believe.
Other works for the COVID response, whatever it is, in California. And you remember when they had made a decision to close outdoor dining, and it turned out that one of the people that made that decision, the day she
Gavin?
did it, went out and was dining outdoors.
I thought you meant Gavin Newsom going to French
yeah.
Laundry.
Yeah, that was fun. This was a different one, but he had a statement. He was like, when they were talking, he said, well, dude, what evidence is there that it's spread in outdoor dining? And she said, it's about optics. So this was a decision that this politician had decided to make, this bureaucrat decided to make.
They really have their own cherry pick news too. I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember that one person? That means it's all bullshit, man. It doesn't help at all. What about other countries that shut down all that stuff and some still haven't
It
shut
don't
down?
matter. Y'all not giving. This is fucking vibes. No
Right.
stats, no statistics, no studies. No, you're not reading the reports. No names. This is just how we feel today.
Make to show that they're doing something, because the numbers had gone up. So we're going to stop outdoor dining, which showed zero transmission. There was no cases there.
California.
Yeah.
I gotta fast forward. I'm sorry.
Dolphins or what?
No one who is alive today had ever experienced a true
There we
pandemic.
go. Here's the
Four.
part.
No one who is alive today had ever experienced a true pandemic. And I'm hoping that now that this is over, people are going to, recognize that some serious errors were made and not repeat those. That's the best you can get out of it. But as far as compensation for all those people that were forced to close their businesses and keep their doors shuttered and lost everything that they'd worked for decades.
Keep in mind, PPP loans that were forgiven and shit like that. That was compensation, but okay.
Decades to build. No, they're just going to be angry.
So what do you tell those people?
Vote Republican. That's what a lot of them are going to do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, more than 1 million people transferred over to the Republican Party, I think in 2021 alone. Find out what that number is. But, you look at guys like Ron DeSantis, who kept Florida open and had some pretty reasonable policies in terms of like what
Have
to do.
some of the highest COVID rates in the fucking country.
Just covered the article where they have the highest rate of long COVID in America.
Right. And, and the thing is, when a lot of these people talk that yada, yada, yada past people dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the businesses shit was shut down. I'm sorry for your loss, but motherfuckers was dying.
And highest rate of long COVID to me is probably you had the highest rate of people getting it again and again and again. And just percentage wise, it drives up the likelihood that somebody's going to get long COVID.
Mm-hmm.
COVID. And, he mapped it out on television. He was, widely criticized for this, where he was saying, like, we need to protect our elders. We need to, make sure that medical care is available for those people, and everyone else. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. Protect your freedom.
Isn't that the point, though, I think, to learn from?
So, yeah, that's Joe Rogan, vote Republican. That'll fix it.
I guess.
Yep, Ron DeSantis is a hero, and I play that also to let people know, like, it's a whole nother world out there where these are their facts. Mm-hmm. These are they're like, it's obvious what you should do, and that is what Ron DeSantis said: do nothing
and die,
and
like, literally risk your life. Like a lot of these Republicans, a lot of them motherfuckers died too. They dead because they was doing the exact thing you told them to do.
Yep. So, and of course, this is all about COVID. Vote Republican because everything else that Republicans do doesn't affect them.
Mm-mm.
So, vote Republican. Well, they're anti-trans. I don't care. They're anti-gay. I don't care. Right. They're anti-black. I don't care. I'm a white man. You know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. I'm a straight white man. I don't care about those other things. I just wanted them to pretend that COVID wasn't happening and allow me to do whatever I wanted to do, no matter how many people got sick or how many people died. I didn't want them to try to mitigate that harm on any level. Like,
yeah, they want to ban abortion. I don't care. I can't have no babies.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there were like almost no countries were trying the approach of just don't do shit. But
right.
As far as they're concerned, Ron DeSantis his approach should have been the approach to everything. The other thing I find interesting about the discussion around politics and COVID, Republicans were in charge when the outbreak started.
Mm-hmm.
So even your Donald Trumps and all these people, even those folks were like, yeah, this is obviously a health crisis and we have to do something. We don't want to. We're going to try to deny it. We're going to lie to you. We're going to do as much as we can, but it is breaking our system so bad. We have to address it. And how much worse did they make it? But by the inaction of that first few months where they just pretended it wasn't happening.
Yes. And the only reason why Donald Trump did anything was because it affected the economy. If it had not affected the American economy, he would not have done shit. If the stocks would have stayed up and all this shit, if the world hadn't to shut down so bad to actually affect the economy, he would not have done shit and he would not have cared.
All right, other news. Lizzo seems to respond to comedian Aries Spears on VMA's stage after his fat shaming comments. So I guess I don't even know what show he was on.
I don't even really know what happened. All I know is I just seen his name trended. I was like, well, I'm not looking at it. I just see.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I haven't even seen the clip. I think the thing with Aries Spears, if you know anything about him, he runs off at the mouth about everybody all the time in hopes to go viral. Okay. And the only time people talk about him is never for like a joke, a sketch, something funny he said. It's always for, he's like, I can't be funny, so let me just shit on everybody and say, mean things all the time. And that's how he goes viral. That's how he gets attention. And it does feel like helping him by responding to it and sharing it and all that shit. It does feel like it helps him because he doesn't have any shame about it. And when he was like, when it was brought up to his attention, like, oh, what about everybody's mad? He was like, I was expecting that. I don't care. And y'all the real hypocrites because y'all was fat shaming me, even though y'all say fat shaming is bad. Which is, it's such a like, I know you are, but what are my childish response? But that the point being like, I don't think he cares. And yeah, it's just another way for people to talk shit about him.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with people like that, there's not too much you can do other than ignore them.
Right. Yeah. So in her speech, she said, and now for the bitches that got something to say about me in the press. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. They be like, Lizzo, why don't you clap back? Why don't you clap back? Because, bitch, I'm winning, ho. She said in the thunderous applause, big bitch is winning, ho. Best revenge is your paper, bitch. She later posted a clip of her speech to her Twitter account, cheekily writing, keep my name in your mouth because I know it tastes good, bitch. So yeah, I hopefully okay, it was called The Art of Dialogue, and that's where he was asked about Lizzo's music, and he just said, I can't get past the fact that she looks like the shit emoji. She got a pretty face, but she keeps showing her body off. Like, come on, you. And I'm sorry, listen, she's not the most in shape. He said, explaining, oh, I'm not the most in shape. I got funny. Funny has swagger and confidence and is at least decent looking enough to attract the opposite sex. I think I'm at least handsome. A woman that's built like a plate of mashed potatoes is in trouble. He then went on to call out the hypocrisy of women who praise body confidence and sisterhood, but won't discuss health risks like diabetes, heart problems, heart disease, and cholesterol. Y'all will jump on me for making jokes, but y'all won't fucking be real and go, sister, put the eclair down. This ain't it. It's treadmill time. Which is always like the pivot people that shame people for being fat always slip to like, because I'm really just concerned about your health, you fat, ugly bitch. You look like a shit emoji, you ugly fat motherfucker.
You're not.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. And by the way, if a therapist or weight loss coach or somebody talk like that and got fired, I feel the same way. Like,
yeah,
it's the tone of it too.
And you're not, and you're lying, and people always do this as being a woman and dealing with everything. You know how many women torture themselves. All of them ain't big either, but torture themselves and go through a lot of shit and mentally are fucked up and all types of shit due to it. And a lot of women do exactly what you're saying, but it's one of those things where she's a quote unquote easy target. You know, versus
it's wild though, because she's one of the people that don't bother nobody really.
Nobody.
But motherfuckers really hate to see her like not hating herself or not being ashamed or whatever. It's crazy. Like
because they have
the same
with
same people that praise like Rihanna for showing up to something with her titty hanging out and you can see the whole titty under the shirt or whatever will be like, why she got to show up to the Lakers game like that? It's like, damn, like, you know, it's, I don't know, it's wild.
Yeah, a lot of us people insecurities and their projections on their own personal hangups.
Yeah, and I think it's very easy. I mean, Aries Spears knows it's very easy to dismiss what he said because he's like, look at him, like it's pot collar kettle black, but the pot works out a lot less and it is less attractive. So it's like it was obviously gonna go where it went, and like I said, it's just more immaturity.
Yes.
Tabitha Brown refuses to change as the Food Network inexplicably pulls her new show, It's Complicated, from primetime lineup.
I was hoping you was going to talk about this.
Well, you know, that's what I do. For reasons unknown, the social media superstar's new vegan-based competition series, It's Complicated, has been abruptly pulled from its primetime slot and moved to weekday afternoons. And while the Food Network is remaining mum about the peculiar decision, the influential TikTok star ripped the sudden move. Brown opened up on social media this week with her frustrations of working with individuals and companies who are trying to change her amid her newfound success as an actress, vegan good influencer, best-selling author, and fashion designer. I know I've said this so many times before, but for whatever reason, people just don't seem to believe me, okay? She started off her video message. You know what's funny is I can't imagine her being mad. Not that I can't imagine her being like, I can't imagine her sounding mad. Like I feel like even I need to find this clip because I guarantee you that she didn't sound
her voice.
Yeah,
that thing was sweet as honeydew while she was just letting you know she was not pleased with you.
Right. Like I guess there's a lot of like, you know, I find it very. I know I've said this so many times before. Like, I know it was like that. It wasn't what I was thinking where it'd be like, listen, you bitches.
Hello there. Y'all all right? Real quick.
All right, let me put it on the screen because I know y'all want to see it.
Quick. I know I've said this so many times before.
See? I knew it. I reading the clip, it's like, I know I said, listen, motherfuckers. But when you look at it, you know, she was like, listen, my babies.
But for whatever reason, people just don't seem to believe me, okay? There is not a company, there is not a network, there is not a person, place, or thing that is going to change who I am. If you don't like Tab, as this Tab, if you don't like the Tab who gives God glory, if you don't like the vegan Tab, if you don't like the cooking Tab, the mama Tab, if you don't like my personality, if you don't like everything that makes Tab Tab, don't work with me because I'm not going to change. I'm not going to shift a little bit for your audience. I'm not going to talk a little bit different for your comfort. I'm not going to change. This person I am. This is who God created me to be. And if it ain't enough for you, then you're not for me. And if I bring it to your attention that, wait, I don't like how this feels. I feel like you're trying to change me or erase my personality or my culture. And you get upset by that instead of hearing me from my heart. I also don't want to be in business with you. Does that make sense? It ain't personal for you, but it's personal for me.
I'm picking up what she's putting down and I'm reading through the lines. And it's like she's not yelling, but she's yelling, you know? Like she's just not saying, she just is, you know, the pause is if you insert a bitch, the pause, it comes across more clear.
And it's business. So don't want to be in business with you.
Bitch.
Does that make sense?
Bitch.
It ain't personal.
Bitch.
For you. But it's personal for me,
bitch,
and it's business.
Bitch.
Okay? And with that being said, my new show, It's Complicated, has been moved from Thursdays at 9 p.m. to Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Food Network. You can still stream it on Discovery Plus. But I'm still not going to change.
Bitch.
And I'm going to always speak my mind
Bitch.
and my truth.
Bitch.
I love y'all. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, if you had the bitch, I see it now. But yeah, and it's interesting because it sounds like the things that made people love her, the way she came up, whether you want to call it being authentic or is a character or whatever, I'm not gonna debate you, but we do know it was successful. We do know that she got all this stuff because this woman just kind of went viral into people's lives, and people was like, oh my God, I feel so good, I want to just watch this. And I always say that is a muscle and people don't respect it. People always like it's the Megyn Kelly can do morning TV, and you're like, no, the fuck she can't. People don't want to feel that way in the morning. When they turn to that channel, they want to feel optimism, love, hope, happiness,
they
integrity.
don't want nobody grumpy looking at them at
gratefulness
6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, like they not tuning in for that. They watch cable news for that feeling of anger or whatever. And so to see her rise that way to prominence, and then you get that show and people start telling you like, you're gonna have to change this, you're gonna have to change that, especially as a Black woman who looks so Black. There's no ambiguity. Her her hair in this video, you can look at her hair and be like, that's a very Black hairstyle, like her, and then she got the Southern accent. It's I definitely obviously I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe we'll find out differently, but I did get that vibe. Like, did they ask her to like change the way you speak, change the way your clothes, change your hair, like that code switch of be a little more accommodating to whiteness. We're not gonna come out and tell you that. That's we ain't trying to get sued, but we could just do something different with your hair and your clothes and your and all. We could just do something different, with the way you talk, and if she stood up and rejected that, and then they pulled her show, or changed the timing, that does feel very fucked up if that's what happened.
And it's one of those things where it's very, very frustrating because you knew what you were getting, and guarantee you somebody at that network pushed for her, but that might not been the person that made like the upper executive decisions. And a lot of times, a lot of those people, they actually cater towards white people, particularly the Food Network. A lot of their stuff is, for white people. Great shows, but, you have dots sprinkled throughout, and a lot of the Black shows that are there are no longer there or whatever the case may be. And so, because I don't even watch as much as I used to because of that. And I think for me, you wanted her, but you didn't want her. You wanted her there because why else would you make the deal? Because it looked good for you to make this deal. But yet when she gets there as her authentic self, now we want to make adjustments and change and things like that. Because I remember the Neelys, the wife. I think it was like a documentary or something like that, and she was talking about that. She was talking about how they it's certain things that they make you adapt and adjust and change and things like that to kind of be more presentable to TV. And she's like, well, I'm not doing that. And you know what, it put like this, it would not surprise me, even though they moved it to 1, it still be one of the highest fucking rated shows. All because people are like, I'm going to support her. We don't care what time it comes on or what time you air it.
Maybe. I mean, it could also go the other way of like, people are like, oh, you insulted her. Y'all don't support the show. I'm not watching this shit. Like,
agreed.
Y'all like, see, this is the thing. People that come up the way she came up, in a lot of cases, they don't need the platform. The platform need them.
Right.
Like, she was doing fine whether it was Food Network or not. She can go back to fucking showing people recipes on TikTok or wherever else. She was doing that already.
She has a kid show and all types
of
stuff.
Like she can just like a lot of these people coming to the game, they're already diversified or whatever. They got representation. I can see this, especially the way they're fucking over the streaming TV shows and stuff. I think a lot of people ain't putting all their eggs in one basket anymore anyway. So like, okay, cool. This gives me the lateral movement to say I'm not changing.
Right.
Whereas before, if it would be like, fuck, I fuck up my Food Network deal. How I'm gonna eat? All right, go ahead, cut my hair. All right, go ahead, and I'll start wearing wigs. Let me tone the clothes down. Let me get more white contestants or whatever the fuck, influence she has over the show that they want her to relent. I can see doing that if you felt like just my one shot. But these motherfuckers now, they're like, I'm famous outside of this.
Yeah, I got 5 other streams of revenue.
Y'all don't get none of my money from other revenue. I'll just go do that if y'all don't want to play ball, because honestly, a lot of times they be the ones that's right. Like, I know myself and I know what my audience wants, and I know when people turn on TV, this is what they're gonna want to see from me. And y'all are telling me what all your other shows that failed did, and I don't want to do that.
Right. And also it's one of those things where, not trying funny, bitch, you came to me, I didn't come to you. Odds are they reached out to her.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where if we go into this agreement, you know what you got. So like you say, my audience is going to tune in and they will be highly upset if they don't get the thing that they want.
Yeah, maybe like stuff will come out. I expect stuff to come out, because normally when this kind of shit happens with a network, they want to cover their ass, so they're gonna start leaking some rumors that make her look shitty. And I'm not saying that it will be untrue, but this almost always happens. It's like when a football player or basketball player or somebody on a team sport says something bad about not wanting to play at the team, and then all of a sudden the rumors start that like, James Harden was always lazy as shit and he showed up late and never gave a fuck about nobody. It's like, well, when he was y'all's MVP, y'all didn't ever let those stories come out and you never gave a fuck. You just talked about how much you love the guy. The second he's like, I don't want to play here anymore, oh, he's just a piece of shit, and there's just no, So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting story. And then there was this person on Twitter that called her arrogant, basically assumed that she was being arrogant for not just doing whatever she was asked to do. Of course, this person has no inside knowledge of what she was asked to do.
Right. And people do that when they aren't in any position of power. And all jokes aside, like they tell you, I would do anything. Would you really, if you was in her shoes, would you just really just do anything?
Well, also,
just because
they always, people that say that are like the people that say like, I do anything for, and if I had an NBA contract, even if it's the minimum I do, it's like, because you don't deserve it.
Right.
Like if you deserved it, you wouldn't do anything for it, because you would have earned it. And you, the same way that you won't do anything for however much you make down at Safeway.
Right.
Like, oh, for that $300 a week, you actually not gonna do anything. But if it was $1 million, sure, you do anything, because you didn't put in the sweat equity to earn $1 million. So yeah, this woman replied to the Roland Martin retweeting it, the story about Tabitha Brown, and she said, I've never seen an arrogant person win. Learn, implement, improve. And ratio, y'all, no retweets, 7 likes, 28 responses.
Because people was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And one of the responses, Tabitha Brown.
Yeah, because the thing is so fucked up about this, and you want to hear things that are coming out, but a lot of times you go, oh, this is some racial elements behind this, because with y'all demand a white woman do this. You had Paula Dean on there, and she was just a country ass as she could be, but y'all never asked her to change her thing like that. Like that was the fucking hook. Get out of here and kiss my ass.
Honey, please don't confuse freedom with arrogance. I used to be a code switcher, and I did nothing for and it did nothing for anyone. We should be accepted in any room because we are enough. I will never pave a road for others that requires them to give up their freedom. No, ma'am. Heart emoji. So yeah, that code switching comment leads me to speculate that it was some sort of like tone yourself down, and not like a programming note or something of like, or you're treating people badly and we want you to stop. It sounds like they came to her and said, we want you to change who you are and how you appear.
Yeah.
And
So
once again,
clothes down, your hair down. There's no telling what they asked to
there's a time and place where I think you can say that to somebody and you're the expert and people have to do it, right? I'm not saying they want to or that it even makes you right, but there's a time and place. Hey, I'm just getting started out. I don't know. You picked me. I don't know what my appeal is. You're the one that runs a TV show. Let me just do what you say. And then there's today where I know for a fact 17 million people like the way I look and the things I say before you got involved. Right. And the reason that you have me here is because of those 17 million people.
Yes.
I'm not going to let you take away my voice. And I have a voice. I actually have an opinion. I have a style. So you're not starting molding this clay from nothing. You asked us to do this thing. You know, it's like, you know, when we signed with Spotify and the long ass negotiation period that was, it was months and months because, you know, we were like, we're not changing shit and we don't have to change shit. And we had a freedom and the lateral ability to go, no, we're good. No, and the ability to say no, like, we good. The ability to say no is the most powerful fucking ability you can have, especially when you Black, especially when you're a woman. It's the ability to say, I can tell you no, and I'm gonna be all right, because that leverage that they have over so many people is, well, if you say no to me, what's gonna happen? And for a lot of people, it's, I'm gonna be fucked up. I'm gonna lose everything. I guess I gotta say yes. And now motherfuckers are like, I don't.
I don't. And on top of that, you're actually talking to, all jokes aside, a woman that's of age. And so she not no little kid. This is, you know, she's like, oh, I'm grown. What you're not gonna do is tell me who I am. I am who I am. That's
another point. Good
and
point.
A lot of people fail to realize that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this is why a lot of people buck back and they don't like women of a certain age or women as they mature, because all of a sudden, I'm not no dumbass. I'm not going to just do what you tell me to do. I'm not going to fold. I'm going to make demands. I'm going to tell you what I like and don't like. I got motherfucking opinions. I'm not going to, you know, make myself small to make you feel good. I don't give a fuck if you call me a bitch. I don't give a fuck if you say I'm nasty. You know, like you have a confidence there, and you can't use those same tactics because I've been around long enough and I've been beat with that long enough. I got motherfucking tough ass skin. Bitch, this ain't the first time I done tussled or fumbled a shit like that. I guarantee you that's something she's dealt with her whole entire goddamn life.
Yep. So yeah, that just seemed like a really out of nowhere story, you know, and it's crazy because to me, and obviously I'm not the biggest like I don't follow all the stuff she does, but I root for her as Black people, you know, generally do. But I'm kind of shocked that somebody would want her to change, right? Just because, like, I really thought the appeal was that she is unique in that way. And there's not a lot of people, and she's walking that fine line of like motherly black energy, but not in some type of like sellout way or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no mammy shit to it. It's just, this is how I am. This, you know, and just like kind of like Lizzo. Never hear her say nothing bad about nobody. Even when Tabitha was getting dragged by Wendy Williams and shit, she still like nicely put her back together. Like it wasn't like a bitch, like let me come out of character. It was none of like I don't know, just kind of the same way I felt about when Aries Spears talked about Lizzo is how I felt when Wendy Williams talked about her, where it's just like she don't even be bothering nobody. Just why is this a problem for you?
And it's a lot of times people like to pick quote unquote easy targets. Like they're not gonna pick somebody that they know will quote unquote go back at them. They like to pick easy targets, because when you pick an easy target, you people tweet and retweet and repost and all that stuff, and you know odds of them saying something back is low, or odds of them getting in the mud with you is low. And so that's just your tactic, you know.
Yeah. And honestly, I think they do want them to clap back, so they could be like, look how I affected them. Like even Lizzo responding to the VMAs, as human as a moment that is, I felt kind of bad, because it's like that's what Aries Spears wants.
Of course.
Like he's a nobody that people only bring up when he says something repulsive. And if you, the intended target, have to come out of yourself for even 1 second to respond to it, he feels like, yes, this is what I would like to have. And that's how that Wendy Williams thing kind of was too. But obviously Wendy's taking such a hard turn in her life that people feel more sympathetic towards her now. But anyway, it's just, that's such a weird thing.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where what just came out maybe a few months ago. So now people go, you because of this, people went, yeah, I'm excited for her show. I'm thinking about what you said to, I don't even know if I want to watch.
Honestly, this is more promotion for the show than whatever they've been promoting.
Yes,
like maybe they've been promoting it if you watch Food Network already, but I haven't seen it just promoted around as like a Tabitha thing. Like, hey, let's go online, find out which accounts like black stuff, and just start throwing this at them. You know, like there doesn't really seem to be a lot of promotion for it. Anecdotally, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't know she had a TV show about cooking.
Okay.
If it wasn't for this, it would not have come to my attention. That's bad, in my opinion.
Right.
Because I look for news, I look for shit all the time. I'm always, black capitalism segment, all this stuff. And this is my first time I think I heard this.
Yeah, and it's also one of the things where you're a big ass network. You can invest in marketing and pushing her to the black community and on social media because you do it for other chefs. And it's also one of the things too, to where almost not, and that might be wrong, but almost like we're doing this a charity case. We hope it work out, but if it don't, it's no skin off of our back. You're actually the popular black right now. And so we'll bring you in, but we're not really going to invest. We're really not going to do the things. We're going to see if we can get you to change your style, because I've watched enough Food Network, because I watched Food Network for years. I've watched a lot of shows flop and fail. A lot of them, the next top shelf shows, the next big Food Network star, them bitches ain't nowhere to be found, because a lot of them shows they did was motherfucking whack. And nobody's willing to talk about how a lot of times, depending on the people, they don't actually cater it. Some of their shows, they don't cater it to the person's strengths. They'll be like, here is a formula that we have calculated out, and these are the check marks that you must hit, regardless of if that person can fit in that mold or not. Doesn't matter to them, because like I said, I've watched enough to see enough of these shows flop and some of these people not be around anymore.
Also, like, there's already a struggle for so many people that are considered non-traditional, right? That are, we're talking about black women, people that aren't white men. There's so many people who already struggle with the imposter syndrome. You struggle with everyday people telling you your body ain't right, your hair ain't right, your face ain't right, the way you talk ain't right, where you come from ain't right. And despite all that, people are achieving. Now, especially with social media, you're finding out that, white people had that wrong. I always go back to this example, but it's when the Sony emails leaked, the woman who was in charge of Sony at the time was talking about how they didn't want to do a sequel to The Equalizer, which starred Denzel Washington, or possibly maybe even The Equalizer in general, because they said people won't go see it because he's black and it won't make money overseas. Now, of course, the movie made all kinds of fucking money overseas. It's Denzel goddamn Washington.
Right.
But if they think that about Denzel Washington, not to go on another tangent, but if they think that about Denzel Washington, it's like Sterling, the guy who used to own the Clippers, when he said he didn't like Magic Johnson, and all of us went, oh, he's racist. And you go, well, why would you say that? It's like, because if you don't like Magic Johnson, you don't like any black people.
Right.
And if you don't think Denzel Washington can sell a fucking movie, then you don't think any black people can sell a movie overseas. That's Denzel Washington. And so that type of bias is what people are always fighting through to even get in the position to be seen. So to hear that she got through and then still had to deal with this shit is another level of frustrating for people like us. So it's just like, fuck, man, like, what was Tabitha supposed to do?
Right. And it's also one of the things too, like I said, as somebody who has watched Food Network for years, if you realize anything about Food Network, they don't actually have any rising stars. They don't actually have anybody new that they bring. Everybody that they have had has been around the last 15 to 20 years. Like literally everybody. Their best known chefs have been the same thing. That's why they do their show. They do the cooking thing. They do the Top Chef challenge. They break off. They do something else. For real, some of them have been around almost 20 years.
Right.
And that's a problem. You're the fucking Food Network. You mean to tell me there's no young upcoming chefs in the motherfucking country that y'all can't do a top-rated goddamn show with somebody other than your same recycled people? And some of these people are excellent. I love them. But let's keep it real. You mean and on top of that, not trying to be on a tangent, on top of that, a lot of the black and brown people, they are not on Food Network. They are on one of its sister channels. I forgot what the name of that channel is, but they're on one of its sister channels. If you want to see Indian food, if you want to see Asian food, they're not on the main network. That's the motherfucking problem. You're segregating the thing. Put this shit out there in front of white people, because you know what they do? They go to the Asian place. They be the people packing this bitch out on Thanksgiving and Christmas to be mad if them people say they're not open. They the one that have a problem, you know, with the people, but motherfucking eat the fucking Mexican food up. You know what I'm saying? So you can't tell me that you can't push and promote this shit to white people and they won't love it.
Right. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. And it's been proven wrong so many times.
Right.
It's like, how many times do you have to prove somebody wrong? Like, ain't no black people cooking? Is that what I'm hearing? Like, do black people not make food?
Right.
And you know what's funny is
Asian.
all these streaming channels are snatching these people up.
Yeah.
All kinds of content.
Yes, and on top of that, the streaming channels have their own versions of the bake-offs and the cook-offs and all that stuff, and you can sit down and you can binge it and stuff like that. People that probably, I kind of funny, have knocked on motherfucking Food Network's door and y'all declined them.
Right. Yeah. So I just Dracarys, I think is what we're saying. I think we're saying Dracarys.
Yeah, that gets.
I think we just played the game.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to.
No, didn't mean to, but yeah, that gets to Dracarys. Like I said, as somebody who absolutely loves the Food Network, but I think that's one reason why I stopped watching and not watch as much, because even a lot of the black people that they had, all jokes aside, they would make them look frumpy. Like it would be fucking ridiculous. We know she got titties. Like, come on, why can't she go out there like everybody else? Why is she got fucking 4 sweaters on and all wrapped up and shit? You go, bitch, I know you hot. Like that's the shit I see. You don't require nobody else to do that bullshit. Because like I said, I watch it. I'm like, you in the kitchen frying fish and then baking shit and all that shit. I was like, I know your sweater smell like lamb chops, ma'am. Nobody wants that. Got flour and paprika all on your shit.
Well, let's keep it going. Brigham Young apparently is in the news for fucking with black people. Because of course, a fan got banned because they repeatedly shouted the N-word at a black student athlete.
Good.
Yeah. Brigham Young University announced Saturday that it was extremely disheartened on Saturday following a racist incident on Friday evening. Another ugly altercation has resulted in a Utah sports fan being banned from a venue. Man, Utah, what's up with that state? Like the NBA fans, and now this. This time is Brigham Young University. KSL TV reported Saturday a fan was banned from the Smithfield House and all other athletic venues. Like the YMCA, he can't go pick up basketball.
I don't blame you. Don't bring your ass in no more.
After they were identified by the Duke women's volleyball team for racially taunting the black players during the Cougars' 3-1 win Friday night over the Blue Devils. The fan was seated in BYU student section, but the university said he was not a student. So this motherfucker got a ticket just to be racist. It's like, you know what? I am not even a fan of volleyball. I'm just a fan of calling people racial slurs. And I mean, this is the closest I could get to it. So, you know, I had to.
Is this the student that said they had to get security or something like that?
Had to get security.
Like for her? Because I was reading about a player where she didn't feel safe.
My goddaughter is the only black starter for Duke's volleyball team. While playing yesterday, she was called nigger. Every time she served, she was threatened by a white male who told her to watch her back going to the team bus. A police officer had to be put by the bench. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. No, not one freaking adult did anything to protect her. I'm looking at you, BYU. You allowed this racist behavior to continue without intervening. Apologizing to her parents that the fact is not enough.
Right.
Following an extremely unfortunate circumstance of Friday night match at BYU, we are compelled to shift today's match against Ryder to a different location to afford both teams the safest atmosphere for competition. I'm trying to understand why you can't just kick the person out while it's happening. You know,
that's what BYU failed. Yes.
Yeah, this is a situation where I really don't think, I don't think anyone's blaming them for the fact that this person showed up and was racist. I mean, what can they do about that, really? But I think everyone should feel a bit upset by the fact, by the fact that they sat there and let it happen for so long before even doing anything. And then the BYU athletic director, did you see his comments? He gave a speech. This is what he said.
For those who don't know me, my name is Tom Holmo. I'm the athletic director at BYU. At last night's game, there were some egregious and hurtful slurs that were directed at members of the Duke University women's volleyball team. I'm the athletic director, and I'm accountable for what happens in all our athletic events. And with that in mind, the process to get better and to heal has already begun, as you can see, and you'll see a little bit more often. I want you to know that this morning I visited with the young athlete on Duke's team and her coach. If you would have met her, you would have loved her. But you don't know her, and so you don't feel that way.
I'm not trying to be a stickler here. I really not. But if you would have met her, doesn't seem to be it's not the big joker he thinks it is. It's not like, listen, you called that woman the N-word, but if you would have met her, you would have seen that you would not have called her the N-word, where it's like, wait, what?
As children of God, we are responsible. It's our mission to love one another and treat everybody with respect. And that didn't happen. We fell very short. We didn't live up to our best. I ask that everyone at all of our games that represent BYU, that you will have the courage to take a stand and be able to take care of each other, and more importantly, the guests, our guests who we invite to come and play here, so that we can be disciples of Christ and show it in every way. I love how Cougar Nation, how The Rock, and all our fans are incredibly in support of our teams. Cheer them on as loud as you can, but do not cross the line where you would hurt or harm anyone in any way. Love you, Cougs. Thanks. For those.
Yeah. This is definitely a white man's speech.
Yeah.
Because you didn't address the motherfucking thing. You said members. You meant member. It was just one fucking person.
Yeah.
You didn't say it was racist. You did not say this shit will not be tolerated.
Yeah.
Like, you like, come on now. What is we really standing for?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Right, because you didn't want to hurt their fucking feelings.
Yeah, that wasn't it.
That was not it. You wasted it. Why did you even give the speech then?
Of all the things that were it, that was not one of them.
Yeah, because the things you thought, well, I'm gonna kill him with this. I'm like, no, you did not. You didn't kill nobody.
Yeah, it's like, wait till they see this shit.
Wait till they see this. If
I'm
they
about
would
to-
have met her while he was watching the speech, he was reading it to other people.
Right.
He was like, yeah. Everybody was like, yeah.
He was telling somebody some he was thinking that was gonna be like the closing speech to Time to Kill. And imagine if that little girl was black. It's like, oh shit, I didn't know. Okay, now hold up. Didn't see that coming.
No, sir.
Yeah. 0 to 100.
This gets a 100 because it actually gets a Jacaris because the university didn't step in and immediately put that person out. Because guess what? If you'd have did that, the athletic director wouldn't even have to make the fucking speech. They could have just did a press release and was like, these things will not be tolerated. We had somebody disrupt the game and we immediately got rid of them. Like they don't want to do shit like that because that's how you nip shit in the bud. But because whiteness let whiteness do what it do, and nobody cares until somebody calls whiteness out. Other white people go like, oh, you fucking up. Yeah, you seen the same shit I seen, but it wasn't until I said something and embarrassed you that you felt like you had to move.
Right.
You know, because the first thing somebody should have, somebody somewhere, because you mean to tell me y'all don't have security guards, y'all don't have people walking around, you don't have people whose whole thing is to be sure the safety of the children. And my thing is this, I have a question for Duke. Did any of those coaches say anything, point them out, make a big stink and be like, what you're not going to do is do this to my student athlete?
Right. I feel like they failed her on so many levels.
Right.
That is like saying that it's, you know, like, oh, this one fan or our fans need to be better is kind of missing the point because the coaching staff needs to be better. The players, I mean, not the players, the opposing team's coach, and those people need to be better. Like, it's not just a matter of like, man, this one person fucked it up for all of us. It's like y'all failed at every level, and yeah, if I was a kid, I wouldn't feel safe there either. So,
why would you? Terrible. Why would you? And on top of that, this person threatened me, and not trying to be funny as a parent, like my child. Oh, you threatened my child. You told my child to be careful. Okay, like this right here will not motherfucking end. We gonna have to have a conversation and talk about this. And then a lot of these predominantly white universities wonder why people are like, y'all are motherfucking racist. We're not. Well, then what the fuck is this?
Yep. A Florida man convicted of road rage hate crime after black mixed martial arts artist put him in a chokehold until the deputies arrived. Oh,
not the chokehold.
That did not go the way he thought it was gonna go.
Yeah, don't fuck with people.
He's like, I seem to have found out. A white Florida man's been convicted of a federal hate. He got convicted of a federal hate crime. Oh my goodness. Convicted of a federal hate crime over highly dangerous and racially motivated road rage attack on a black man who was driving with his girlfriend and daughter last summer. Jordan Patrick Leahy, 29, was found guilty by federal jurors in Tampa on Wednesday of one count of unlawful interference with a federally protected activity, namely driving on the street. The conviction comes as a double loss for Leahy because the man he attacked was a trained mixed martial artist who easily subdued his assailant and kept him in the chokehold until authorities arrived.
That's Roger talked about that. It was like, y'all be fucking walking up on people. These you do not know. Somebody will fuck you up.
That's what I imagine happened. You run up on Randolph Terrace with that bullshit.
Right. They be like, oh, this skinny old thing, Randolph Terrace, will give you the goddamn business.
The conviction comes as a double loss. Across America, families must be able to freely travel our public streets without fear of being attacked because of race, said Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark. This verdict should send a strong message. I think the chokehold also sends a strong message that the Department of Justice remains firmly committed to prosecuting to the full extent of the law those who would use violence to enforce heinous racist beliefs. And shout out to the Department of Justice.
I about to say DOJ.
Merrick Garland doing it again.
He was like,
He made the time.
You took 2 L's. You got choked out and here's some jail time. Leave people alone.
Yep. So yeah, the underlying incident occurred August 8th, 2021, is documented in the government's response to Lee's motion to dismiss. As they traveled, the black family traveled home from dinner. Lee zoomed up beside JT's car, hung out his window, and made gun gestures with his hands. While making the gestures, Lee yelled racial insults at JT and then swerved into JT's lane. When JT tried to escape by driving away, Lee aggressively tailgated JT, then pulled alongside JT again, swerved aggressively into JT's lane, forcing JT to swerve into a turning lane. As he did so, Leahy's car sideswiped JT's car. The vehicles did not fully collide, but Leahy's driver's side mirror hit JT's passenger side mirror. Leahy then drove away. The black driver, however, realized that he had been the victim of a hit and run and was intent on getting the license plate of his assailant's car and photographing it to report the incident to police. After catching up to the defendant at an intersection, JT used his cell phone to take the license plate picture. Leahy then got out of his car and aggressively made for JT's vehicle, the motor said. JT was concerned Leahy might have had a gun, and he told his girlfriend to call the police while he got out the vehicle to protect his family. Obviously, he may or may not have been concerned he had a gun, but that's that Florida stand your ground shit. He used it for his, he was like, yep, I whooped his ass.
We in Florida.
Call the police because I'm about to beat this white man down.
You might have a gun and you're not gonna fucking shoot and kill us.
JT then got out of his car, intending to draw any fire away from JT's girlfriend and daughter. The two met beside Leahy's car. When they did, Leahy was the aggressor, saying something to the effect of "fuck you, nigger." Leahy tried to strike JT with a closed fist. JT, a martial artist, slipped the blow and punched Leahy twice. JT then caught Leahy in the chokehold until Leahy briefly passed out, pissing himself, and then restrained Leahy until the county's deputies arrived.
Mm-hmm. You crossed the wrong one.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 0 to 100, Karen.
Oh, this is good 0. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel more fucked with by the original incident than by this update, which is
correct.
This motherfucker got federal hate crime. He got choked out. He got good. All good news.
Yes, leave people. Y'all know what? We just want to be left alone.
Let's talk about this steakhouse in Memphis, Karen.
What happened in Memphis?
Reports of racism for a Memphis steakhouse pour into a TV station after initial report over racial profiling.
Oh shit!
It began yesterday.
What are they saying? No, we won't do your steak well done.
They don't like their customers well done. Like we like all our customers rare, you know. So it started with this news report for the local news station about the restaurant, and then that turned into the actual, like, more people saying
a police officer said that he and his family felt when they were all asked to leave a Memphis restaurant over the weekend.
Here's the reason. His party allegedly smelled like marijuana. Fox 13's Dominic Dillon has been following this story from the Houston's restaurant in East Memphis and has the latest.
Yes, the couple, a local law enforcement officer and a local high school principal says when they came to Houston's restaurant Saturday evening, a manager asked them to leave for smelling like marijuana. But they tell us several other employees said they didn't smell a thing. The family believes this manager's senses had more to do with race than odor.
Right.
I don't plan on patronizing this establishment anymore.
Did they smell too black? Is that what?
Do we have black aromas?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, they were like, what's that, hot sauce?
Is that some cool water in here?
Because Marcus Mosby says he and his family were racially profiled by a manager at Houston's restaurant on Poplar Avenue Saturday evening.
I said, what'd you say? She said, y'all have a strong odor of marijuana coming from your party in this area. I said, man, we don't smoke marijuana. You're mistaken. She said, I've got complaints. People called and said they smell it. I said, ma'am, no one has walked past us but you.
Mosby, a police officer for nearly 28 years, and his wife, a high school principal, felt humiliated.
Right. Why would they fucking smell like marijuana?
It's crazy because if you go to the video, Snoop Dogg is in the background. So I don't know. Maybe that was it.
Advised her of my occupation, my wife's occupation. You would think she would just reassess what she thought. She didn't want to hear it said, you still have to leave.
Mosby says he and his family refused to leave and got a second opinion. They were then seated, but Mosby had more questions for the manager, who initially denied them access.
I said, why didn't you just racially profile us? She said, oh, I'm sorry, that was just a bad mistake. I said, how you say you smell something that nobody else smells? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I just apologize. She was very apologetic.
Mosby shared his story on Facebook and learned
and then these comments came in. Oh,
they do this shit to a lot of people, and everybody think no niggas think that they be the only one. And somebody be like, hey, just like when we had that problem up there at that place, we post some stuff and people's like, yeah, that place is racist.
Oh.
They weren't the only Black family asked to leave the restaurant for allegedly smelling like marijuana. So we visited Houston's, demanding answers.
Hi, we're with Fox 13.
Another one of these fine ass local Black news.
Right. They probably like, ma'am, the manager's busy. You can't talk to nobody. Trust. Ain't nobody talk to her.
Is this manager available to discuss accusations of racial profiling? Let's see if they're available. One moment. Thank you.
Instead, we were kicked off the property by security.
Right.
Y'all go on that side over there.
Go on that side for.
Yes, ma'am. Up the premise. Can we talk to the manager? Yeah, they don't like cameras on their premises. Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't want to talk about it.
I sent an email to the Houston's general manager. Here's what he had to say. Mr. Mosby dined with us Saturday with his family. When we detect the strong presence of marijuana with arriving guests, we do refuse service as the odor can affect others dining. We made a mistake in attributing the odor to Mr. Mosby's party and apologized. We were happy to welcome him in and take care of his experience on a Saturday. Back to you, Daryl.
Thank you, Dominique. That's Fox 13's
No.
Dominique Dillon live in East
I
Memphis.
hope they didn't think they said something.
Right.
You basically said the employee was right.
Right. What? Oh, they was right. They just smelled. It was a different person they were smelling it off.
Yeah, that old. There probably nobody in there smell like fucking marijuana.
But now they're saying that people been telling the station like we also had it.
And it wouldn't be surprising with that same fucking manager.
The most notable was a former security guard who worked at Houston's for 2 years before he couldn't take it anymore and asked to be reassigned. They would come in and they would tell them that they were booked and that they wouldn't be able to get a seat for the next 4 or 5 hours. Sometimes they would say they were booked for the whole day, and then we would see white people come in and they would take them on in. But listen, if you listen to this and you not somehow happen to not be Black, every Black person got a story like this.
Yes, they do.
And then I would see the manager tell people to just come on in behind me and don't say anything. Just walk to the table with me. Don't say anything. Just act normal like you have reservations. He would let white people come sit down, but he wouldn't let Black people come in. This is from a person that worked there, security person, Black person that had to watch this dehumanizer bullshit every day they clocked in. One customer of color, Linda Lane, said that a host asked if there were other shoes the customer could change into, saying that they banned Crocs in the dining room. The customer explained she had just injured her ankle. And then another waitress came over and told my cousin, you can't wear a hat in the dining area. He said, what's the problem? I see other people wearing hats. She said they're veterans. Every Black person got this. If you've ever been to a nightclub, like, you can't wear shorts in here. You can't wear athletic shoes. And you look in there as a white person in shorts and athletic shoes and nobody's saying shit. The problem the steakhouse had when they only persisted from there, at one point the manager said they were trying to keep the establishment upscale and said, I don't really want to stay in this establishment. I'm uncomfortable, said the security person. Lane emphasized said Linda Lane. Lane emphasized her party was dressed appropriately. We were dressed to the nines and we would say in our language because I had on a dress and they had on linen suits. White customers were allowed to be in violation of the dress code.
Of course. Because it don't matter.
Because it's not a dress code, it's a skin code.
Right.
White. It's a white party, and the silent part is only. Guest attire can elevate or diminish the experience of others. We consider hats, tank tops, flip-flops, and team athletic attire too casual for our restaurants. Our staff takes pride in their appearance. We ask our guests to respect our attire guidelines. And I think being from the South, this is definitely something that has affected me because I just don't even go to fancy restaurants. And like whenever I see like a restaurant that's too fucking fancy, I'm just like, this is gonna be some shit.
Oh yeah, because we went to that place and it looked really fancy. We walked in there and people was dressed all types of ways.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some good times out and gone to some places, but in general, I normally like even though I can afford it, I just normally look at these places like it's just gonna be some shit. I don't know how, but it's gonna be some shit. And I'm happy and glad when it's not, but I'm never surprised when it is. So yeah, 0 to 100.
Oh, this gets a 100 because it sounds like they have affected other people in the community, and it sounds like this person coming out is making other people. So this is a trend there.
They should shut this shit down.
Right.
They should shut this fucking restaurant down, man. Like, and this is how you know, like, it's so fucked up for humanity is because white people shouldn't want to eat here either.
Right.
Like, they won't care and they will go eat there. Some might even start, fucking going to eat there on some MAGA shit or whatever. But white people should be insulted by this bullshit too. Like, man, fuck that restaurant. What the fuck? I've been giving them my money and they racist. Like, I'm not racist. Why are they being racist? You know? But I have a feeling that won't happen. All right, let's get some guess the race in, and then we'll get the hell out of here. The problem for me though is that if they would have took the time to get to know those black people.
I met them and they were fine black people. The hell is wrong with him?
It's time to guess the race. It's time to guess the race. It's time to guess the race. It's time to guess the race.
All right, guess the race time. A crashed skipper died after drinking antifreeze at night in the bush. A skipper who crashed on his way to work and died the next day in the hospital.
A skipper, so he was driving out on a boat.
I guess, I don't know. He crashed on his way to work. He died the next day in the hospital, had fatally ingested antifreeze. Prior Alan Lee, 36, drove off a hillside road in the outer Marlborough Sounds on March 6, 2019. He spent a night outdoors before walking to a house and getting a ride to Nelson Hospital. However, he suddenly deteriorated despite full efforts to resuscitate him. He died in intensive care that afternoon. A toxicologist found he had consumed ethylene glycol, also known as antifreeze.
Oh no!
A chemical used in car radiators.
That's that green stuff.
The findings didn't get released until this week, which is very
3 years later.
Yeah, this shit happened. When did this happen?
In 2019.
Yeah, we just now finding March 6, 2019. We didn't find out till August 2022. But yeah, he was a skipper for the NZ King Salmon, working 7 days on, 7 days off, and staying with either his parents or partner in Greymouth during the time he was driving the Teepublic Port Ligger Road. Wonga knows where that's at, probably. An unsealed road that actually is New Zealand. He don't know. An unsealed road that connects the outer Marlborough roads. Who cares about this part? His 2011 Ford Ranger went off the road down the steep hillside, coming to a stop about 200 meters below the road. He pulled himself from the vehicle, was unable to climb back up the hill, so he spent the night in the bush, drinking from a stream to quench his thirst. His insatiable thirst. Oh no. In the morning, he made his way to a house. He was clearly he looked bashed up, but he refused medical help because he didn't want to be airlifted to Wellington. He told the homeowners that he had seen two vehicles coming towards him, with a white van overtaking a silver vehicle. This led him to suddenly twitch his steering wheel, causing him to veer off the road. He thought they were freedom campers, he said. In the end, the homeowners drove him to the hospital as it fitted in with their plans. They said, we're
gonna pass the hospital on the way to the beach.
They said, this is what's wrong with men trying to be too like, I'm fine. Now, I mean, if it won't put you out your way, maybe take me by a hospital. Sir, your brain is shooting out of your skull. Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna drink a little more of this antifreeze, and then
I see your bones sticking out your knee.
They said Lee was talkative and coherent on the drive, but he was breathing heavily and had a pain in his chest. They discussed a previous occasion when someone working at the salmon farm had driven off the road, blah, blah, blah. He was alert but confused and had an increased heart rate by the time they got to the hospital. He got to intensive care. He was intubated and ventilated, and then he was suffering from high potassium and severe acidosis, a buildup of acid in the blood. Despite full resuscitation efforts, he was pronounced dead.
And imagine if he hadn't have found them
Right.
He'd have been dead in the woods somewhere, and wouldn't nobody even have known his ass was out there.
So what they found out, first of all, this nigga drank from a creek. I can't even imagine that. What they found was that the coolant overflow bottle in his vehicle had tipped over, and the top of it had been removed, making it possible for Lee to take the coolant water from the overflow bottle. Police told the coroner they were satisfied there was nothing suspicious or untoward about the relation to Lee's death. Police tried to identify the drivers of the two of the vehicles, blah, blah. Yeah, so he drank the coolant somehow. So yeah, Karen, guess the race of this man.
White.
Karen's going white. Let's check the chat room, see what they believe, mates. White, 3 names, and it was a kerosene white. It was just a little party liquor. The white. Everyone's going white. The correct answer is white. Yeah, that's that early collar, baby. Drinking that party liquor. Sad way to die, man.
Right?
Maybe he had a concussion or something. Why would you
Yes,
do that?
like it was more to that than me. Yeah, because you had a wreck. There's no telling what internally was happening.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's go to another one. How about this? A woman charged with murder after kiss with intimate during visitation goes horribly wrong. Okay. Oh, with inmate, not intimate. Kiss with inmate. Okay. A woman who shared a kiss with a prisoner during a visitation in Tennessee has been charged with a murder after the inmate died shortly after the exchange. Rachel Dollard was taken into custody over the weekend by special agents for the Tennessee Department of Corrections and the Dickinson County Sheriff's Office. She's accused of smuggling drugs into the Turning Center Industrial Complex. She's facing charges of second-degree murder and introduction of contraband into a penal facility and is currently being held in the Hickman County Jail. Charges come after the death of Joshua Brown, who was serving an 11-year sentence on drug-related charges. His sentence was set to expire 2029. During the visitation in February, authorities alleged Dollard passed drugs to Brown as the two exchanged a kiss. Dollard was allegedly hiding half an ounce of meth in her mouth and was able to pass it to him orally. He swallowed the balloon pellet containing the drug, but later died of an overdose at the local hospital. Whoa. Dollard was charged on a warrant from a sealed indictment. So yeah, guess the race.
What's her name?
Her name is Rachel Dollard.
White.
Karen's going white. White like the meth she transferred to him. Meth equal white. Method white. White. A lot of whites. White and dead. The correct answer is white. And she's not dead. The dude is dead. Mm-hmm. That's her. And then that's him. Man,
he swallowed the pill.
Swallowed the meth. I don't know if meth comes in pill form.
I mean, not pill, or the balloon.
Yeah, and died of overdose. Oh man, well, he must have been high as fuck when you went out. What a way to go out. All right, bonus round, Karen. 2 for 2.
I ain't racist. How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Call them niggas. Just call them niggas.
It's time to get
gold chain wearing, fried chicken and biscuit eating, monkey eat, baboon, big guy, fast running, high jumping, spear chucking, 360-degree basketball.
All right, Karen's 2 for 2. Let's see how she finishes. If she can finish strong.
Okay.
California dermatologist was arrested after her husband allegedly caught her poisoning him with Draino.
Oh.
Yeah. How you
gonna cover up Draino?
Dermatologist Yu was arrested on August 4th following accusation by her husband Jack Chen that she had poisoned him on multiple occasions using powerful drain cleaner. The couple had been married for 10 years. And apparently she was sick of his shit. Police said that the victim, who ABC and CBS identified as Chen, reported that he had mounting suspicions that he was being poisoned by his wife after feeling ill for weeks. He didn't capture video evidence that was turned over to the police to support his claim.
Oh, so he started filming her.
Just after 6 p.m., detectives interviewed the suspect, 45-year-old Yu, and served a search warrant at the home she shares with the victim. Yu was arrested for poisoning her husband and booked in the Orange County jail. Police said while the man had obtained significant internal injuries, he is expected to recover. And according to the news, Yu, who also goes by Emily, is the director of dermatology with the Mission Heritage Medical Group, who told the outlet in a statement, "This incident is a domestic matter that occurred in Irvine, and we want to reassure our community that there had been no impact on the patients."
Yeah, she no longer works here.
She was released on bail of $30,000. And what happened was the husband began to notice a chemical taste in his lemonade earlier this year and was subsequently diagnosed by a doctor with 2 stomach ulcers, gastritis, and esophagitis.
What?
Screenshots of the footage he obtained were shown Wednesday morning on Good Morning America's broadcast, and they show Yu pouring Draino into her husband's drinks on 3 different occasions, allegedly.
Oh.
So I guess, was she making him drink so he was pouring it just directly into the lemonade bottle?
I guess the lemonade was the height of his favorite drink is probably lemonade.
It was bad enough. Lemonade was a popular drink, and it still is, Karen, even with after this. But just the fact that you went and
guess she ain't using enough sugar.
I don't think she's making him lemonade. She's pouring it into lemonade he bought. So I think she used too much Draino.
The Draino lemonade ratio wouldn't right.
Yeah, as in any. Yeah, he has a domestic violence temporary restraining order against his wife. She, of course, says she is innocent.
What, you on video? Is he? I know you about to get some divorce papers because bitch, just leave me. You ain't got to try to kill me.
In 4K. Karen, guess the race.
Asian.
All right, let's check the chat room. Asian, likely Chinese, Asian version of Taraji's character from Acrimony. She works for the fucking hand. Asian. I know this is guess the race, but use the me play joke meme might go too far. So Asian, it would. Yellow is the new orange. Asian. You Asian. Emily, just get a divorce. Don't overdose on the lemonade. Asian. She watched Heather's and I'm gonna do this here. Asian. Everybody said Asian. Gel polish is an upcharge. Asian. Kim Jong-un taught her how this shit Asian. Kill Bill Asian. Yellow Power Ranger Asian. The correct answer is Asian. That's got to be a record that I don't think we've ever had it where no one's missed a guess.
Right, everybody was 3 for 3, wasn't they?
Yeah.
You normally have somebody go off the board.
Right, and our DoorDash is here now, so I'm gonna play Sword Ratchetness for y'all, and Karen's gonna grab the food at the door before the raccoons get it. I want Dominant Silk to get some pizza tonight. You know, the thing I keep thinking about is how much do you have to hate a motherfucker to poison them with Draino rather than get the divorce? Like, you gotta really hate a motherfucker real bad, you know, to be like, I could, leave them, I could break up, I could go to get a lawyer, I could slowly poison this motherfucker to death. Like,
it's cheaper to kill him.
I mean, I know you never blame the victim, but what did he do?
This Draino bottle was only $5.
Yeah,
why did a whole ass divorce?
Why did this feel reasonable to her?
I bought some simple lemonade, and altogether I may have spent $6. That's cheaper.
Yeah, simply lemonade. But yeah, I guess it was simple lemonade. It's lemonade plus Draino.
Yes, it is.
Easiest directions in the world. All right, sword ratchetness.
Buddy will have to complete an obstacle course in the judiciary. Gainesville police say 23-year-old Dylan Martin attacked his brother with Japanese sword. Officers say the pair got into an argument around 1:30 a.m. Martin grabbed the sword and cut the other man's left hand with the blade. The victim suffered several cuts on his hand and needed stitches. Martin said he only meant to scare the man and didn't mean to cut him.
Oh, you know how you just want to scare a person with a sword. And of course, who would think a sword would actually cut somebody?
Right.
It's not like that's the one only purpose thing they do. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
Not, you know how some swords is, healing swords, and then some swords are the, cut a motherfucker kind. All right, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. My brother, this artist that he's producing music for, will be the guest. We'll talk to them a little bit about the music project, and then we'll get into the regular show. And of course, Wednesday will be our Game of Thrones recap. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Y'all have a good one.